Thank you.
Now, just dig deeper. You're all set up? Okay.
I'm sure she's perfect. Did you cut it on yet?
Yes.
Change the password to
Could accept, and it was the same.
Think I should do it?
Plus, getting full salary from
I'm sorry.
Say something. Say something. Go ahead.
Something. How do you do this?
Make sure the microphone's working.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
That's my pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah, you bet. It's always hard to tell who's in front of the room, because that's where you're,
Right, when you're ready, so it's getting ready to kill. Yeah, in the back.
yeah, you can't have a lot of reinforcement right around the microphone, because otherwise you feedback.
Yes, sir. Very good.
I tend to be a bit more pessimistic.
Oh, yes. So you were a full-time professor?
I think that's how it That's my son. That was one of his goals.
you screaming. I'm born in Memphis.
How are you?
Yeah. That's pretty peaceful. Hey, so Memphis is wild. It's a little fun stuff, I think. Or Nashville. That's like 10-hour drive, honestly. Yes. I don't been there for I think she copied the best, but I can tell you that I can. It's called 75th, it's like 22 East 75th Street. So I'm working for it just in the south.
That's what's cousin or just pick them down. Taller one, the red line, somewhere.
She probably thought you were somewhere real fancy.
Now. Just want to be higher. It smells good.
He's presenting yesterday. He's still there. Tell me your name. I'll let him know you.
His friends were born are Christine. And he writes taught law school.
Website, yes.
And very specific.
you spell your name?
Good afternoon. All right. Thank you, first of all, for being on time and beating everyone to the snacks. But today I will be talking about how do you deliver? It's a question, right? How do you deliver? It's actually, from my perspective, our perspective, an example of how technology changed the face of meetings and collaborations. Now here today is Dean Asmira Techley. Okay, she is our Dean of Faculty Development. And I'd like for you to meet Stephen Zapeka. He is our technology specialist. And we've been talking about flipping classes all day long. This is the ultimate flip. And you want to know why? They're not here. I am. I'm Shanta Clark Davis. I'm the Electronic Resources Librarian. But Dean Techley was unable to be here today due to prior engagement. But she will present to you today by way of video. Okay? We're flipping it. And then Stephen, he's unable to be here today because he's moving. He's leaving us. So he's wonderful, but he's going on to, hi, welcome. He's moving, he has opportunities, so we wish him well. And Stephen, hello, Dean Techley. All right, let's see here. And without further ado, I'm going to actually introduce you guys to Dean Techley, and she's going to begin.
County participants, my name is Asmira Techley, and I'm a professor of law and associate dean for research and faculty development at Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston, Texas. I am delighted to be participating in this panel entitled How Do You Deliver? An Example of How Technology Has Changed the Face of Meetings and Collaboration in connection with the 2013 CALI annual meeting. And I'm really delighted to be participating with my co-panelists, Stephen Zapeka, and who's our web guru, and Shanta Clark Davis, who is our e-resource librarian. Today, I'll be sharing my thoughts on a number of collaborations that Stephen, Shanta, and I have engaged in this past year. So first, I'm going to discuss our scholarly collaboration, the scholarly collaboration that Shanta and I participated in this past year. And then I'm going to talk about how we infuse tech into the FUSBE and traditional law school programming of guest lectures, CLEs, and academic conferences. And lastly, I'm going to offer a few notes on collaboration generally that stem from my experiences with Stephen and with Shanta this year. So first, I will discuss my scholarly collaboration with Shanta Clark Davis, our e-resource librarian. This collaboration involved our launching the Thurgood Marshall School of Law's online journal on SSRN, the Social Science Research Network, which is the premier online source for scholarly works in the social sciences. And this collaboration, in launching this online journal, we bridged, internally, we bridged the library, we bridged tech and the academic side of the law school, and it was great fun, and it's producing results. We've gotten, I think, probably over 1,500 more downloads of our scholarship since we launched the online journal in February. So first, Shanta and I first collaborated on the marketing, and Shanta is great. Of course, she's the Eagle Resource Librarian, so she is really engaged in social media. And what she did was that she advertised the launch of this online journal on the library's Facebook page, and I believe on other social media platforms, which is something that I would never think to do. You know, my mind was sort of focused on the traditional methods of marketing, leaflets, so on and so forth. But also, in addition to Facebook, we also collaborated on this traditional old media way of marketing, which is the leaflet. But we were trying, here's an example of the leaflet, and what we were trying to do is make it more visually appealing by using different types of font, really stressing the web link, the email address, and putting just the pertinent information. So Shanta and I spent a pretty fair amount of time working on crafting this leaflet so that it drew people's attention. Instead of using white paper, we decided to use fluorescent orange. It's faded with time, but it was really bright orange to distribute to the faculty. Shanta also was great about having copies of the leaflet in the library. So that involved, the marketing aspect of this involved some collaboration, which was great. In addition, we worked closely on crafting. Shanta and I worked very closely on crafting a memo. Again, this was traditional, a traditional way of marketing, you know, a memo. But it was important that we craft the memo, this old way of marketing, using new way, or using the ways that this generation and that we're now schooled at looking at things. So for example, in the memo, we, similar to the leaflet, we try to just hit the essentials, bullet point things, make the website of the online journal really big, not keep the verbiage to a minimum. So that took us a fair amount of time to craft that memo, and there was a lot of email communication, a lot of back and forth, face-to-face, but ultimately I think we got a good product, and we've had more faculty join on the SSRN network and also our institutional page. So things to do and go, where do we go from here? I'd like to see more of our faculty folded into the online journal of SSRN, and we're also working on transitioning management of the online SSRN journal to the library. Next, I will discuss how we've infused tech into the traditional law school programming. This is where Stephen and I have worked quite closely together, and he probably agreed that in the past 2 years, it seems as if we've gone from 0 to 60 in the amount of programming that we're doing at our law school, between CLEs, between programming that the Office of the Dean is putting on by inviting guest speakers, between programming offered by different institutes at the law school, for example, the Immigration and International Law Institute, as well as the Earl Carl Institute, which is a public policy institute. So there's a lot going on. And what we wanted to do was to experiment with ways in which tech could be integrated with this programming. I mean, a strong desire to harness tech to improve the marketing, the broadcasting, the interactivity, and the post-participation of these gatherings. And so I'll start with how we infuse tech in marketing of these gatherings. So one, we, in addition to crafting paper posters, sort of cardboard posters of these gatherings, we also design digital posters of the event. So we have screens all over our law schools and we use those a lot to market any number of events. Now, in contrast perhaps to before, both the digital posters and the traditional paper posters had a strong emphasis on visuals, on color, so we used a lot of photos, diagrams, versus perhaps what you may have seen before was a lot of words. The reason we did this is to accommodate, the Instagram generation, where visuals and images are perhaps more superior or equal to words. So where do we go from here in terms of infusing marketing of these gatherings, these lectures, these workshops, conferences with tech? I'd like to see our school do more marketing on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And so that's where I think that we have an opportunity to build upon the foundation that we've laid this year in terms of infusing marketing with technology. Next, I'll discuss how Stephen and I infuse the broadcasting of these events with tech. So traditionally, as you probably well know, law school programming, whether it's a guest speaker coming in to lecture, a panel, whatever, law school programming has consisted of a speaker behind the podium, it may be a panel, and the only people who can view the lecture or the gathering are those who are on site. It's a very old way of doing things. This year, however, we live streamed events on the web, sometimes even to a global audience, and we use the platform of WebEx. Now, Stephen is far more versed in explaining the pros and cons of this platform. So I'll leave that to him. But we were successful in broadcasting guest speakers and panels online, which was a first for us. Now we did have some glitches initially with WebEx and the platform of WebEx and broadcasting it via mobile devices, because I think people could not see the video, but they could just hear the audio, whereas on the desktop they could both hear and see the panel. But however, nonetheless, I think we were able to fix it and learn from that experience to where digital participants could view and hear the gathering both on mobile devices and on desktop devices. Of course, mobile in this world takes precedence now because mobile phones have everything. And so we want to be sure that our gatherings can be broadcast, especially on mobile devices. Now this transitioning or allowing our conferences, our events to be broadcast online changed the way that we marketed our events. So we had to put, for example, on the flyers, on the digital posters, on the paper posters, we had to put and include a web address and the passcode for the digital audience to be able to access the event digitally. And we had to alert people to the possibility that they could still be a part of this event even if they were on site. So that's sort of a paradigm shift. And that's still a work in progress because I think, people are so used to this notion of just being able to attend an event on site in real life. And that's not necessarily the case anymore. So we hope perhaps in terms of future implications, we hope that these sorts of experiments that we've been undergoing might lay the groundwork for perhaps webinars for which the school will charge, probably with reference to CLEs. Next, I will talk about how Stephen and I have infused or have used tech to enhance the interactivity of these lectures, these conferences, so on and so forth. So the old way of participating and interacting with panelists was that involved only the on-site audience being able to participate and engage with the panelists or the speaker. Why? Because they were the only ones who could view it. But now, using WebEx, for example, we were able to permit the digital audience, which again was an innovation, to be able to chat their questions into us, and then we were able to include these questions into the Q&A portion of the talks, which was really cool. Now, that demands a little bit more organization because you've got to have a person who's monitoring the chat sessions, and then that person has got to then give those questions to the moderator, and somebody's got to filter questions. So that is a little bit more of a paradigm shift than the traditional way. But ultimately, it broadens the audience and it allows more interactivity and participation. So I think the implications of this enhanced interactivity is that more people you have participating, and also the possibility of snafus, for example, in the technology, I think permit greater opportunity and more, and I think demand more time for the Q&A portion of talks. So where do we go from here? I'd like to see our being able to incorporate an immediate survey following the chat sessions, following the digital audiences viewing the particular event or following the session so that we can get real-time feedback on the events, the speakers, etc. Next, I'll talk about how we've attempted to infuse tech into the post-event. So Stephen reported all of these events. And so the reported content is available to those who ask for it. However, I think where we both like to see things go from here is the posting of these videos on YouTube or another online video platform, or even on our website if the service can handle it, so that the public can view, public, students, faculty, staff, whoever, can view these events on demand. Some of them were really quite interesting, and it's a shame that people wouldn't be able to access them just because they're not available. We had some challenges with placing these on YouTube, and so we hope to be able to place these on an online video platform going forward. Finally, just to end my talk, I'd like to offer a few notes on collaboration, and these stem from Shanta's, Stephen's, and my experience of working together this year. This is a historic collaboration for our law school, to my knowledge, and one that bridged the different units of the law school, tech, library, and academics. For me, this collaboration represents a breaking down of barriers between the different units and our titles. And of course, this is what happens, you know, in the age of the internet, when information is readily accessible. And it's not necessarily controlled by people who had that control before. So, you know, to have a professor, an associate dean working with support staff, the dean engaging in a panel like this is rather groundbreaking for our law school, and I hope that this sets a pattern going forward. Secondly, I'd like to point out that it seems as if collaboration builds upon collaboration. And never did I contemplate going into this job of an administrator that Stephen and I would be working so closely on any number of things. And every time we finish a project, we end up dreaming of something else, and we want to accomplish that. So it's sort of, and similarly with Shanta, working with Shanta, that has led to additional conversation between the law library staff and me. And we hope that that will lead to increased integration between the Office of the Dean and the law library. So what I've seen is that the collaborations have become fun. They obviously work, they help the institution, they help us individually, but they're also fun. And they enable us to stretch, and they enable us to be creative, which is always cool. It lends meaning to our work, as well as helping the institution. So I appreciate your listening to me, and I hope that you enjoy the conference. Thank you.
All right. And we were talking about flipped classes, so you'll kind of get an idea of what your students would encounter with, you know, a flipped course, or having someone present to them on video. And as she said, this is how, you know, how we deliver. How do you deliver? You know, she wasn't able to be here, and so therefore you were still able to get the information that you needed. Okay, and going forward, Stephen isn't here, so I'm going to kind of cover his piece of the presentation. And the technology resources is the piece that we will go over first. WebEx, and Dean Techley covered that. It's utilized a wide variety of conferencing and collaboration software to enhance our meetings. We use WebEx, Skype, GoToMeeting, web-based delivery content. And all of these are the systems that he used in order to help Dean Techley with the different talks and programs for the faculty, and I'll go over those a little later. And although technology has not been a replacement for face-to-face and other traditional delivery systems, it has allowed us to embrace a fantastic repository of new ideas and to untap and to tap into different resources that we can use. Okay. Now, you heard her talk about the old way and the new way, but historically, we've had like average of maybe 20 to 50 attendees at the events, and they involved faculty and staff. And the guest speakers had to travel to events. Well, the current standards now, they're able to be global. The audience is more global. Meetings and collaborations with faculty and staff are throughout the nation now. Guests and featured speakers can deliver from their location, as Dean Techley did. The impact of this new technology, once again, increases event participation. It allows other institutions to participate. For example, I'll show you with South Texas, U of H Law Center. We've done a lot of talks with them this year in collaboration. Share material instantly with all speakers and attendees regardless of location. allows for more efficient distribution of recorded materials, and it does not replace, but it enhances the local environment. What we have learned, collaboration technology increases our impact. It allows us to be more effective, more effectively reach multi-generational attendees, and we have broadened our social exposure. And technology does not replace our meeting and event process, but once again, enhances it. Okay, and on to the library side.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a specific technology, I know you listed 4 of them, was there a specific technology that you guys would recommend we use for, or does it depend on the situation?
Well, it depends, and I'm not going to elaborate on that because I'm not Steven,
Yeah.
but WebEx, we use WebEx a lot.
Okay.
And I would recommend that one because of the fact that even in the library, when I participate in webinars, that's what's utilized is WebEx. But any of those will, are the ones that Stephen kind of points out to.
So your experience has been that you guys have used WebEx?
WebEx, primarily.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in my collaborating with Dean Tegley, initially our faculty scholarship in the traditional way, we had a case here, and our reference library is actually here today, and she actually updates this case periodically when we get the publications in, and it's a beautiful case, and it sits within our library. And once again, it's traditional showcasing. There's hard copies, and that's physical exposure, but it's limited. Now, our library director had a vision of creating a repository or a database, and so we met and we created this faculty scholarship database, and I'm just going to go live on this one so that I can kind of show you. It's on our website, and you can click on our faculty page, and you can go there. If you're a law student, you're able to access through LexisNexis or Westlaw, and we actually have IP authentication behind, so if you're on campus, it'll come right up. But if you're not on campus, then you'll need to put in your password. Now, let's see. Once again, I had to do this by hand. I had to go in, find the links, make sure the citations were okay, and it's not tedious, but it just takes longer. Now, Nanette would email me different reference library in there. And I would locate them, hyperlink them, and send them over to Stephen, and he would post them. So I would do certain work on this end, and then I would mail it off to him. So, let's see. Now, in relation to the Office of the Dean and our collaboration, like she said, we met, we talked about how we wanted people to respond, or how would they respond. We brainstormed basically, as what she was saying, and we wanted broader exposure. So on her end, before even meeting with me, in order to make sure that there's broader exposure, she created a brochure, and I'm going to go live to those brochures in a moment. And she also created a PDF of our faculty scholarship. So when you go to that page, it'll pull up the brochure, and you're able to go through the actual brochure online in PDF form. And so that was one way that she was able to give our faculty scholarship a broader approach, I guess you would say, at that time. Later on, she requested some research from me and Stephen on the Social Science Research Network, SSRN, on their online series. Stephen initially contacted them, and I was asked to follow up, and so we were all able to meet. We wrote a proposal, and our dean approved it. After that is where the work began. So I was able to contact SSRN. I worked closely with them. They offered 2 different plans, basic and full. And the basic, we really want to go with basic because this is our first time. We're just trying something to bring global exposure to our faculty scholarship. But the full plan allows for an electronic journal. So if your faculty is submitting their scholarship, then if you're on that email list, you'll get the e-journals. And so that even brings more exposure. Jean Tekle is actually the editor. It's called Thurgood Marshall School of Law's Research Paper Series. She's actually the editor. Myself and our faculty librarian, Danielle Norris, we're actually submitters. In order to have this, we had to create an institutional SSRN account, and that is TMSL at SSRN, and we're able to service faculty. And if you, under faculty services, they're able to submit here. And I'll come back because it's a little slow. And I'll come back to that, but they're able to submit, they're able to click on that, and it'll send their scholarship directly to us. Here is our faculty scholarship page. So with our research paper series, this is how it looks. Live. And so you'll see our professor scholarship here and the number of downloads there. And so this, I mean, this is, it streamlines the process for me because I'm no longer hyperlinking, going to look for it in Hind. Totally, I still have to do that to update on our library page, but through this, it just streamlines everything. So this is how technology has helped us with our faculty scholarship. Okay, now, I want to ask you, how do you deliver? And I just want to go around the room. I want to know, at your law school, before that, sorry. At your law school, are you able to have these types of collaborations, or do you just have the library do it for you? I mean, how do you deliver? Let's see. Somebody start and I'll go back to what I was going to say. How do you deliver? What law school are you from?
NIU College of Law.
Okay, okay.
I think mainly it's handled by library on my IT side, but
Okay.
we also do have a product called a Whiteboard. So there's a collaboration tool there that I've known people to use, but I'm personally not really involved with that. So I'm just kind of learning about it.
Okay. What law school are you from?
From the University of Florida College of Law. I also am in IT. I know the librarians do a lot of WebEx stuff because they come to me when I plug in.
Okay, you're right.
No, I wasn't digging.
I know.
But we've got Sakai, Twin, trying to get them off Dropbox. Our university was concerned about the security of Dropbox, so we started, one college started just writing their own, and then campus all kind of like jumped on and put resources, and so we've got it on the secure document, large file.
And I also want, and I'm not going to put everyone on the spot, but I'm just going to give you a chance to tell me how you deliver. But if you see on our faculty services, our faculty page, this is where we display the faculty scholarship, the research paper series, the PDF that I was speaking of, and just updated through the Office of the Dean. And here's our PDF copy. And so, like I said, Dean Tekle wanted a way to mesh everything. So how could we allow tech, library, Office of the Dean come together and provide something that would allow exposure for our faculty? And that was through the SSRN series. But through our talks and workshops that I was talking about, our collaboratives. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, in expansion of the SSRN series, we did sort of the same process that you've done,
Uh-huh.
working with various associate deans and the like. The other thing that expanded the exposure, I'm from Northeastern University in Boston,
Okay.
was that we also started collaborating with the University Library's Institutional Repository, and we coordinated all of the faculty scholarship, not only through SSRN postings and our own stuff, but we put it there, and it's really helped our exposure because of the Google crawlers that go on with the university library. So if you've got anyone you can work with like that, that also really helped boost it.
So I'm sorry, did you all create the institutional repository yourself?
Well,
Did you use Bepress?
being part, it's another product right now. I think they're moving to Bepress, but it was something that the university library started rather than the law library. But we were able to leverage it because we were having to coordinate all the papers and put them on SSRN and, you know, with our own
Right.
stuff in-house. And we thought, well, the next step is if we can get a copy put onto the university library's institutional repository, which they kind of keep the platform up and Google's looking at it all the time and stuff. It was another way to add a place that the faculty, you know,
Right.
and they get monthly reports from it and stuff like that. We have an SSRN series too,
Okay.
but they were running it anyway, so it was a way to kind of like take the next step on it. But I mean, our experience is that you try to leverage it with anybody in the law school that will collaborate and doesn't, like, this is my silo and you're not telling me what to do over here, and it helped to, you know, you have a lot of associate dean like that who's really enthusiastic, that helps a lot.
Right. And adding to that, our associate director, Monique Gonzalez, she's actually launching, in our faculty librarian, Danielle Norris, they're actually launching a faculty liaison program. Because when we started the SSRN series, it's like, you know, a lot of faculty were like, I don't know, you know, we need some training. And so the FLP will hopefully, we're able to assist, maybe like each library will have five professors. And we help them with the things that they need, like Pepperdine, they mentioned it yesterday, that they already have something existing. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to launch it next month.
We've tried that, and then also having one or two librarians who really know a lot about SSRN. And they had to do a lot of outreach because we would send emails and saying, you know, please send us your latest scholarship, but half the time didn't. So finally the librarian would go and say, what do you have? And, you know, who's your faculty secretary who might have the Word document if you don't have the Word document? And it got some momentum going, but we had to do quite a bit of outreach through various means to get it going.
So you had to go out first and then.
Yeah.
So do they send it to you now?
Channels with the faculty realizing that it helped, and they're more apt to send it in, but we still have to kind of do regular inventories. Do we really have in the library what they have? Do they really have it on SSRN? If they publish something, we don't know. So involved kind of, you know, organization with our own staff.
Anybody else? Questions or comments? Yes,
Well, I just
sir.
want to add to that.
Where are you from?
George Washington University.
Okay.
We're also doing SSRN, the working paper series, and Bepress. And one of the things that we do for our library liaison programs, in addition to every year going out and searching to make sure that we haven't missed anything that our faculty are working on, we end up very often having to do the abstracts to go with the articles.
Wow.
Well, they don't like to, you have to really, because the librarians hate to have to write the abstracts for them.
So we don't write the abstracts. They send us the abstracts and.
Well, hopefully they will, but we often end up having to fill the gap there. But yeah, it's just, you know, we're again working through this liaison program, so everybody's sort of on top of whatever.
And how does your liaison program, how's it working out, or?
Well, for us, it's fine. It's, you know, we've got our reference librarians handle most of the faculty through the liaison program, and they are all area specialists. So they're already working with faculty who are who they work with on a regular basis on the research projects anyway. And then most of the other librarians like me, we also have a few faculty that we work with as liaisons. And you know, like I said, it's mostly just a matter of keeping on top of what they publish. you know, if you're lucky, you don't get someone who's too prolific. But yeah, some of us have that problem.
But we have a lot of prolific faculty members that
Yeah, it
write.
creates a lot of work.
Yeah.
But no, it's something that we've had in place for, well, it was already in place when I arrived 13 years ago, so.
Wow.
So it's worked really well for us.
I hope it works well for us as well. The Friday faculty exchanges, this is from our past year, swap out, as you see here, and you can go to our website, they're under our faculty talks and workshops. We have a lecture series, and you see. So I mean, and this is from the Office of the Dean, Faculty of, Dean Tech Led, Faculty Development, so. Anyone else have any more
I
questions?
actually have a question.
Okay.
On your speaker series, so I
Okay.
think the dean actually touched upon this when she was speaking.
Okay.
But you talked about when you guys do your speaker series, in order to involve people that aren't physically there, you were using WebEx to do that.
Yes.
Is that, I know that at least at our institution, I'm at the University of California, Irvine, we sometimes have the challenge of somebody saying, this particular speaker on the panel can't attend, can they Skype in?
Okay.
But then we also want you to provide a live feed, and so then it's sort of combining all these technologies so
Right.
that, multiple speakers, and let's say there's 2 or 3, and I know that we use a combination of MediaSite to live feed and then Skype, but
Okay.
if there's multiple panel speakers, Skype's a little difficult because we only have one video feed that we can send into MediaSite to display. Does WebEx actually overcome that, or, and I know you're not technical.
I know, we actually have someone in here that's technical, actually, Dean Tech Led wanted to Skype in today. And Stephen was like, well, there's complications with that because I think last year at Jefferson, it was like ironclad, nothing could get through the walls there. So he was like, no, you go ahead and record it. And so if there's any kinks, there won't be any kinks if you record it. So to answer your question, I know that, I don't think they've used Skype from to my knowledge in the lecture series, but I know that they do use the WebEx. And there was one speaker, like she said, we had a password and a passcode, and so we all logged in. And it's just like, a camera like this, but we weren't able to interact. And all of the speakers were there. It wasn't, 2 speakers from different locations. And I don't think we've done that before.
Well, I know that some panel speakers actually want to see the audience to sort of interact with them as well. And so we have sort of we have the Skype camera thing shooting out at the audience, and then they're on the screen, and it's...
Yeah, I don't think
it's a
we
nightmare from an IT perspective, because you're like, please don't fail. Please don't fail.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Go Wi-Fi, go internet.
And I remember on one of our series, we couldn't hear the volume. We were like, what is going on? We were sending emails like, we can't hear it, we can't hear. And so that took some time, but it's like you said, working out the kinks, because this is a new dawn, a new day for us, at our
Curious just about your structure. Your associate dean seemed really aware and conscious of like the PR value and the stuff like that, but do you have like a separate staff inside the law school that's like an events coordinator or events planner, or do you have like a communications PR department, or who are you coordinating to get all this stuff?
And that's the thing. She was actually saying, this is actually another position, but right now it's through our external affairs.
Okay.
And, it's really through her office, but she works with external affairs, and they utilize staff members in the external affairs office, especially for the CLEs and alumni events.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. It's a whole other room. So we're just creative, like you said, with the collaborations and the meetings. We're creative on repurposing our staff.
Looking at, you mentioned using Skype, which is a nightmare. And, but I didn't hear just regular, H323 video conferencing, or, video conferencing over IP, where, once you own the box, you're not paying for the service because it's all over IP. But that's sort of the standard institutional video conferencing. As as opposed to Skype, which is consumer level.
Right.
It was just kind of.
I haven't heard that.
We do both. We do both.
Yeah.
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, getting Skype into our weeks is a bit of a.
But Scott, yeah, we haven't really.
Google Hangouts.
Really haven't played Google Hangouts yet. It's only a matter of time, just for the sake of how many people it can support simultaneously.
And that's something I'm gonna take back with the multiple speakers and crowd, cameras. Anybody else have any questions, comments, observations?
We had done some
Where you from?
at Richmond, some live streaming of events early on, probably about around Y2K. Maybe no more than one or two or three seminars around that period. And at that time, it was kind of a production to, get the equipment in place and everything. And we never, at least at that time, I think, had enough of a hit rate in real time to justify the amount of trouble involved in going live, as opposed to capturing it and putting it up after the fact. And so we stayed that way for a decade or so, and then other administrative forces would come in. We're pretty insistent on trying to go live once again with some event or another. And to tell the truth, I don't know what what kind of live audience we got that time. And I guess my question is, what kind of live audiences do you get as opposed to when you presumably archive them up on the web?
And that is a great question. So I don't have the answer for you.
Okay, I didn't have
But that is a great question. I'm going to take that back and see if we
there are some disadvantages like time zones, where somebody might not want to watch your 8 o'clock, might not want to get up at 3 to watch your 8 o'clock event.
You're right. Yes.
We've got kind of variety of things that we do with video as far as streaming, posting later and all that. Like in our IT department, we've got like 8 people that do everything. We've got like one person mainly does video, and so if she has time, like she'll go do it, or like hire like temporary like students or stream workers or something like that. And that's kind of like our bottom level service. Like, yeah, we'll record it and then post it like tomorrow or whatever, and you can tell your students where it is, and it's, maybe it's Sakai, maybe it's just like a link on our webpage or something like that. But for like a major like lecture series, like distinguished lecturer conferences or whatever, we hire, our main campus has a service using MediaSite and all that, and so they will, if this event is large enough, they will pay $100, $200 an hour, I don't remember which it is, for the live streaming, all over the world, and then within like an hour of it being finished, then it's posted and archived and whatever, and so they can go back when it's convenient in their time zone and watch that too. But a lot of it depends on how important it is to this group, meaning how much money they can pay for it.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you charging individual departments for the service of live streaming? It's not something that automatically get?
Yeah, we don't do live streaming. We have, like something like that. I mean, it's on a card, so it's a little camera, and it's hooked up to a computer, and then it records, and I don't know what we use. But then it's like, yeah, when one of our staff has time, we'll go back and retrieve that file and post it, at our convenience kind of thing. Whereas when they start paying hundreds of dollars an hour, then it's like, this is professional quality stuff that you're getting here, that's what you're paying for. But for us, no, it's just the service we provide.
What are y'all recording?
We record like, study abroad orientations or like makeup classes. Like, yes, I've got a student that's going to a bachelor party and they can't make it to class. Like, do we really need to record this? And we go talk to like student affairs or whatever. Yes, please record this. And so if we have time, we'll go record it. But it's like it's the whole gamut. Some of it's frustrating. Some of it we believe is legitimate, but it's kind of not our decision totally.
I have a question for you all. Now, we've been all talking about flipping. How, just from your perspective, watching a flip or a video, how was that? I mean, was it engaging? Did you feel like, I want the speaker there? I mean, how did you receive that? Because we've all been listening to the flipped classrooms and how we would, you know, show videos for our students in regards to certain topics. Was it effective?
Well, the aspect of the flipped classroom, of course, is being able to record it and then hopefully afterward being able to interact with the person. So obviously that was not really a possibility because we couldn't.
Well, I mean, I'm here in,
Well, yeah,
you know, like a
yeah,
TA or something. I mean.
You know, in the flipped classroom, we would have already watched that video before we got here at our leisure.
Okay.
While we were just, you know, going around the house cleaning things.
Okay.
And then we could use this time here to do what we're doing now. You know, exchange ideas and find out what everyone's doing. So for this format, I have to say, I don't think it was especially effective.
Okay.
I think it helped that she's a very experienced presenter, and she was also very organized.
Yes.
She had like certain points she was making.
Right.
So it came across more clearly, rather than, she hadn't been as organized. Then if you had questions, you would have more questions.
Right.
You didn't understand, right? So she took care of that to some extent. So that sort of helped.
Because this was a first for us, you know,
Yeah.
coming to a conference because, you know, they weren't able to be here. So it's like, oh, what are we going to do? Let's put our heads together. You know, I mean, hopefully you were able to take something from it or learn something from another school. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But coming in late, as I did, and listening to the video, I immediately became engaged because I stood up there and started making notes. So I think it was effective that way because as you said across there, the points came out very clearly and I didn't want to miss anything by having to come and sit down, settle down. So I went for this stand up and start taking notes immediately. So I think that it was effective that way, but I also endorsed the point that the gentleman in the back made about the flipping of the classroom.
Well, since this isn't a class, none of us, we don't have anything, we have nothing to gain from the video. We're not gonna be tested on it later.
Right.
So I don't think we have as much of that
Right.
as the students would, I understand. Right.
And when, I mean, in my perspective, flipping may be a little different than yours, but like you said, you watch it away, but I don't know, just video, watching things ahead of time, I mean, it's all a must to me, you know, because it's electronic, so that's just me. But I really thank you guys for coming to the session. Hopefully we have gained from it. Congratulations to all of you all, and have a great Friday.
University building their own. You guys have a wonderful service, we're storing on the data center.
Are you trying to figure out the clicker? That's what I was thinking. Oh, he told me it was in the, yes, that's what he told me. He just said that you had to connect to the main PC. I'll give you mine, and you can write your information. Are you presenting tomorrow? Yes.
With WebEx, like, they have one base machine, and you have to download it. flash sometimes. Next time too.
Really try it, Have you checked it out?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to. I like to watch it. Okay, but now, no problem. Oh, you're talking about last year? They don't do,
I need to turn the heat back on. It's just crazy.
Let me know, do we have a good meeting house?
So you coming tomorrow?
I didn't know that there was other things.
Oh, yeah, you know what, this is, I just want to read.
And I.
You go start a run, all the time, on the computer anyway. It's actually, I look at us, it's just like a lot. I'm sure there's some. That's what
Video conferencing.
Which one is that?
Oh,
yeah.
You'd always
Kind of zoom in and out. You have to talk to it and get, put your director entries into it. Actually, all one. It's not cheap. It's not all.
You can put your whole PowerPoint up there and it'll come in under.
Yeah, they're cheaper than other and card. Like, you see that one on the right? It's probably like, about 10 or so pieces of
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I just thought about this,
We buy a lot of Cisco stuff.
You see this? That's, yeah, but they have the point option now where you can create.
Yeah, we
it's
can
create like examples stuff. We have the central, like they call it like board. Central ideas. So they just give us that. For me, even though I'm very good with some user side. I can't. Okay.
Like Buddha.
Well, we're
All right, so we're gonna have to figure out when we get that. Flip the classroom. Gonna do,
Oh, yeah, I love the web page, and if I do my page manager, something like that, it's gonna be way easier. Yeah.
the only thing that's gonna be different is new ones. Other than that, we don't Cause I'm not. I know, and then you know, they act like when we all would do everything together. We don't do whatever you guys wanna do, like y'all like the 2 days. You guys do what you wanna do, what you wanna do, well, that's what they wanna do. And, you know, that's just you know, everybody's gonna do, and I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Any individual will understand, any individual.
And the boss wants to be proud because
I wasn't gonna do it, but
It's basically, it's us, if someone says to us, you want to, can I do Skype?
you're right. You're right, but I know, but she had me know what.
And we'll have like